These are the 5 things that you need to avoid in order to assure that your account progresses smoothly. And yo, it's your favorite bald guy. In less than a day, we'll get the official release, and I thought, you know what, I should just tell you guys what not to do. I did a video saying what to do, so this one's the inverse. Before we start, disclaimer, all the references and footages I've used is in the description. I'll link them, and let's get into it. The first mistake for beginners that I think is gonna ruin some accounts if you don't do it right is this. You should not spend your Astrites for beginner or standard convenes. If you don't know, Astrites are basically primo gems from Genshin in Wuthering Waves. You can spend 160 Astrites in order to exchange 1 pull for either the standard or the limited banner. So if you go into the game, you beat the tutorial, unlock convene for the first time, there are going to be people who cannot wait to start getting their 5-star and just instantly click and finish the beginner banner, which you shouldn't do. And here's the reason why. In beginner's banner, you are asked to spend lustrous tides in order to summon. Now, lustrous tide is basically what we call a standard banner pull, while the radiant tides is what you use in limited banner. By playing through the game, completing events, and even just logging in as well, you'll get either the lustrous tides or radiant tides. However, though, we get so much more lustrous tide. We get 20 the moment we log in, it's in our mailbox. We get a lot from the level up rewards as well, and the login event even. You're gonna notice most of them do not include radiant tides, which is why as a newer player, you just play through the tutorial, you have 20 lustrous tides from the mailbox, but you have nothing else. You don't want to spend 20 of them and then end up spending 3,200 Astrites, or you know, however many Astrites you have, just to get rid of the beginner banner. You just have to play through the game, and in day 1, if you put enough hours in, you'll be able to get 40 lustrous tides without touching your Astrites at all. So save your Astrites for when you want to pull, say, Jian or Yinli. You want to save that for a queen. You want to see her jiggle jiggle and fold. That is a song reference. I don't know if you guys get it. Considering the 4 stars in Jian banner is so good as well, it is very detrimental for any newer players to spend their Astrites blindly thinking, oh, it's the same currency. So don't do that. Big mistake number 2 to avoid that might ruin your account is that you do not want to upgrade characters blindly. Resources in Wuthering Waves is actually very scarce as you approach endgame. Just like any other game, at the start, oh, they give you an abundance of resources. You can upgrade anything with a click of a button, auto add, and you get max level, right? Same could be said for Wuthering Waves early on, but then as you approach mid to end game, you're gonna realize everything costs energy. You need to farm them, which is why in early game, it is important for you to decide what is your first team of 3 and who do you want to invest in. Hence why we have this tip right here. If you upgrade your characters blindly, say you just upgrade whoever you get and whoever you think is attractive enough, you're gonna reach a scenario where you have like 6 level 40 characters, but the enemies are level 50 already. You have spread out your resources too thin, and now you have 6 characters built, but not efficient enough that they can just blow through the content, which is why instead you should upgrade your first team of 3. If you're like me, you have no social life, you don't touch grass, and you're allergic to the opposite sex, you will be grinding more than 10 hours on day 1. That amount of grind will easily be able to earn you 40 lustrous tides for you to finish your beginner banner, so you will know at least what your first 5-star is. You want to build that first team around this 5-star you get from the beginner banner. Let's say you only pull Caocharo for your beginner banner, then you're looking at building a Baizhi, which is a healer and a buffer for Caocharo, and your third in slot can be someone like Sanhua as a sub DPS. That's just an example though. For team building guy, you can search up YouTube for other videos, or you can watch mine. I've a couple that goes through a bit of team building. Yeah, the general idea is you want 1 main DPS, 1 sub DPS or support, and 1 healer / support at the end. Once you identify your first team of 3, invest all your resources in upgrading them first. That will avoid a scenario where you're spreading your resources too thin and then you can blow past any content, even considering the difficulty spikes that happens. But as you upgrade them, you don't want to get too ahead of yourselves, which brings us to our next point. Do not blindly upgrade any equipments at the start. Now let's classify what equipment means. That means 2 things in this game, okay? The first thing that you can equip on your character will be your weapons, the one that you hold. Yeah, it could be the gun, it could be the sword. The second thing you can equip is the echoes, which from Genshin it will be the artifacts or relics from Honkai Star Rail. Let's start with the weapons. You don't want to blindly upgrade weapons because, you know, the default weapon that you get or some 2-star ones that you get could just be very bad. And with reasons similar to what I just mentioned, you don't want to spread your resources too thin. If you blindly upgrade your weapons, you see whichever one and you just upgrade them without reading their kit and all that, you're gonna realize as you play through the game, you're gonna get better weapons like through crafting or through banners. You don't want to realize that, oh, I ran out of resources the moment you get a good weapon. You're just shooting yourself in the foot, right? And the big reason is as well, you don't even need to upgrade a weapon to really clear the whole story. At least from my experience. I only upgraded my character level. I only used the free characters even. I didn't find a need that forced me to upgrade any weapons at all. I can still beat at least the story, but it'll be different for endgame though. That said, if you get a good one from the banner, feel free to invest in them. The idea here is you want to invest in things that you really will find useful down the road instead of just right now, which is why I said the mistake here is blindly upgrading. But if you know what you're doing and you know that this is something that's going to help you throughout a lot of content, even in endgame, go ahead and and upgrade them. But if I'm being honest, the weapons aren't anything too insane. The resources that you need to get them up isn't that high anyway. The real sink here are the echoes. A character can equip up to 5 echoes at once, and they work as basically just equipments that gives you stats. And the trap here with newer players is that they will beat the world boss and think, oh dang, I can catch an echo, let me catch that, and instantly they're gonna put everything into a really sick overlord echo that's a world boss, right? But what you need to understand is just because something is an overlord class doesn't mean they are rare. Let me explain. With echoes, they come in a multitude of varieties, and we'll call it classes, right? So animal A, animal B, they are different classes. One's a common, one's an overlord. Overlord classes are really good. I'll have a picture pop out that explains it, but these are actually not the decider of whether or not an echo is good. The true decider is based on their rarity. The rarer a certain echo is, the more substats you can unlock on it, which in the end means more total stat line. With rank 5 echoes being the rarest, depicted by the color around the border. If they're golden or / yellow in color, those are basically endgame gears that you want to upgrade. Every other rarity has less substats for it, has less stat overall for you. It's just gonna be terrible for you to invest in them at all. And if you do invest in them and you decide to feed into a good one that's gold, you'll actually get diminishing XP return. So you'll have less experience as a whole, basically wasting resources for fun. And again, the big thing here is you can clear through a lot of the content without even having an echo even. I didn't even utilize crazy echoes with my play during the beta, so that's mistake number 3 to avoid. Do not blindly upgrade echoes. You can maybe upgrade one that gives you main stat attack, just for you to clear things quicker if you want, but in my experience, you don't even need to do it. Do not spend valuable XPs on echoes that you will never use in the future. Moving on with mistake number 4, do not oversave your wave plates, or commonly known as energy. The logic behind this is very simple. Energy will recharge, just like in any other game. So as a newer player, you're gonna go in the game with max energy. If you don't spend them, that means they're max. If they're max, that means you're not recharging and getting more energy back. In totality, you're losing energy. A very simple logic, right? However, you want to spend them as quickly as you can, but also you don't want to just waste them on something you'll never use. So in order to avoid over-saving your wave plates and not spending them, here's what you should be spending them on as a newer player to make sure they're still worth it. You should focus on upgrading your characters, be it by level, be it by skill, be it by ascending them as well. These 3 things, no matter if you're a beginner, endgame, or mid-game player, you need to get them up anyway. Doesn't matter what they are. So by focusing on them early on, that means you're doing those wave plates justice anyway. Or if you just keep them and have it overcapped all the time, you're just wasting them, right? Might as well spend it on something first. A suggestion here that I could give you is before hitting union level 20, which union level means your account level, and level 19, try and make sure a first team of 3 is already invested at least in level. That should be your bare minimum. The energy recharge back is better than keeping them there. But yeah, once you hit level 20, you want to have invested characters at least for the first team, because at level 20, the enemies get a difficulty spike, much like Genshin Impact. The higher level is, the harder to overroll mobs and the story content as well. You'll have just a simpler time trying to get through all the difficulty spike just by spending your wave plates wisely and not just hoarding them for fun. I would say as long as you're farming dungeons that levels of your character, ascending them, or their skills, those are the ones that are worth it no matter what. The worst thing you can do is not do anything with them. Just keep that in mind. And the final mistake here to avoid is do not ignore Baizhi, or a healer. Allow me to explain. I know a lot of people has already expected themselves to be the top % Dark Souls player, and they think they can just decimate all the contents without a healer. Just evade, right? Okay. Firstly, if you're that good, you know what, go ahead. This tip wouldn't apply to you, okay? But for the majority of people, I don't think we're a Dark Souls player, okay? We're gonna get hit. We're gonna die sometimes. So getting a healer is just good overall, but that's not even my main point. Here's my main point. Not only a healer like Baizhi can help you survive, she also comes with attack buffs for your team as well. Now, there's also the 5-star Verena, which is basically just Baizhi, but she does everything better. But you know, Verena is a 5-star, but Baizhi is free, so I'll take Baizhi as an example for this point. Baizhi has an attack buff for your allies as well, and a heal, which overall means that you can pair her in any team comp, and she will be benefiting you one way or another, be it with her healing or buff as well. Since Wuthering Waves has these really versatile character archetype, like the healers all comes with their buffs as well, and can really chain your whole team with the intro-outro skill together well, a detrimental mistake that you can do is just ignoring the healer slot, thinking, oh, they just help me heal, I can evade, or I can use a consumable or TP back for a heal. It's not even that, but more so just how versatile this archetype is with their supportive capabilities as well. So if you're worried that getting a healer might make the game too easy for you, you don't have to worry about that as well. Wuthering Waves is notoriously known to be way harder than any other game of a similar type. So even getting a healer built for you might not make it that easy. The difficulty spikes are no joke, guys, okay? And honestly, for the inverse, let's say you don't use healer, because I've certainly seen someone saying, you know, they don't need to use a healer, clear everything as well. Trust me, I have done that. You can totally do that. But that is only for like story content or just the early game progression. Sure, a healer's not going to be that impactful for you, but in endgame, where especially in the Abyss, you have 3 teams you need to set up. So let's say if you have one team that's strong and you can win without a healer, the weaker side 2 and side 3 is going to appreciate the fact that you have a healer. More likely than not, right? They probably don't have enough damage output to just clear like that. So the whole general idea is that you want to make sure you invest in things you might use in the future as well. Those are the things that are timeless and can make your investment worth its while. And that are the 5 detrimental mistakes to avoid that might ruin your account or at least your gameplay experience. Only less than 1 day till release, so yeah, do subscribe because I'll be doing some goofy ass shit as usual here. If you don't, I'll be in your walls. The breath you feel in your neck whenever you think you're being watched, the dark figure that you kind of see in the dark corner of your room, that's gonna be me. That's all, take care.